Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of I Never Knew or Inc. by Life Coach Maureen. I am so happy all of you are here. We are growing. The community is growing. I appreciate all of your comments and your reviews, your 5-star reviews. It's just been so amazing, the connections that we make and with our guests and our audience. It's just been such an amazing thing. This is why I do this, why I love this, and I'm passionate about helping one another because that's why we're here in this life, right? So today is an amazing guest. I am so excited. She reached out and I read her questions, and it's just my heart is like racing, ready to hear her story. You know, when you think you can't go through something, you think the worst case scenario, she's been through some of the worst case scenarios. And if you could see her, if you're watching on YouTube video, she's bright and beautiful and just glowing, and you can tell the positivity in her that she's taken from these situations. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you about my guest, Kim Sorrelle. Hope I said that right.
Sorrelle, but that's
Sorrelle.
close. Yeah.
Sorrelle. I dated a guy in high school. We went to the prom. His name was Sorrels. So I was
Oh,
like, I was close. So Sorrelle. Sorrelle?
Sorrelle.
Perfect. Kim Sorrelle is the director of a humanitarian organization, a popular speaker, and the author of 2 books. Her first book, Cry Until You Laugh, love that title, is about her breast cancer experience and her husband's battle with pancreatic cancer after being diagnosed 4 months apart. Oh. Her second book, Love Is, chronicles her year-long quest to figure out the true meaning of love, a sometimes funny, sometimes scary, always enlightening journey that led to life-changing discoveries found mainly on the streets of Haiti. Without any more hesitation, welcome my friend Kim.
Maureen, I do. I feel so connected to you already. Like we just need to connect in person at some point in time. We got to make it work.
And I know all my guests hear this, and I just feel like build it and they will come, and the right ones always present. And there's always this thread of connection that we have, like the Me Too. It's a Me Too. I get it. That's what I love about this because our audience is saying the same thing. They're like, oh, I got to contact Kim because me too. I went through that. So, of course, it's I Never Knew. And we're going to start off with the hard stuff and the heartbreaking stuff. But then we bring to the end the inspiration and the help that we give to one another. So let's start from the beginning with your beautiful story, Kim. How did this all start? And just take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, I was married to an incredible guy. I was madly in love with that man and stayed pretty in love with him most of our marriage. I would say we were married for nearly 29 years, and we had probably 27 really great years. And so it was good. We had a great marriage. He was wonderful. And I went for a physical and fought my doctor. I was in my 40s. I was 47 years old, and mammogram. You're supposed to get a mammogram all the time, and it's painful and it takes time. And I'm an entrepreneur. I've got businesses to run. I've got kids. I've got family. I've got things to do. Last thing I want to do is go down to the Betty Ford clinic and get a mammogram, right?
Right.
So I fought her and I went to the mammogram, and then they left me in the waiting room and then said, well, we need to do an ultrasound, and then they needed to do a biopsy. And then a couple days later, they called me on a Friday afternoon when I had no opportunity to call back. And they called and said, hey, the results are in and you have breast cancer and whatever. I was panicked. I mean, no, nobody ever wants to hear those words ever. And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that have heard those words or are very closely tied to somebody who has heard those words and know how shocking it is. And until you have any information, it is just scary. You don't know what it means. And I did go to the bookstore, and everything was either scary, frightening, depressing, or very medical. And I thought, I want to know what I go through. I want to know, what does it feel like? What are my choices? What do I have to do? And And I wanted to know those things, but it didn't exist anywhere. So I started writing because as an update to family and friends, but it was so much more than that. And before I knew it, 5,000 people were reading what I was writing. I was writing when I felt like it, basically once a week, once every other week, whatever it was. And that turned into Cry Until You Laugh. Well, and I did find out there are choices you have to make. And cancer is not this easy thing. You don't just go to the doctor and the doctor tells you what to do, like I thought it was. No, you have to be your own advocate. You got to do whatever. One of the things I had to choose was I had cancer on one side. So was I going to have one side removed or both?
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know. It was one of so many choices, right? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And we were sitting around the dinner table and I'm telling my family, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And one of my sons said, Mom, would you get new siding on just half the house? And I went, oh, that's a very good point, son.
Wow. It is.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Well, so there was my decision. Well, so my husband started having stomach issues 2 weeks after I was diagnosed. Went to the doctor, and it's because your wife has cancer. It's nerves. Take some Tums, whatever.
Yeah, you're stressed
Went back,
out.
right? Went back
Yeah.
a couple of months later. Was told the same thing, but would get an appointment in a gastro person. So I was diagnosed in September. So January finally was his gastro appointment. He went. They said the same thing. Week later, he's just in so much pain. I said, go to the ER, go to the ER. They'll at least run a test. Like no doctor's doing anything. At least they'll run a test. So he went, and I had just had a hysterectomy because of my cancer, whatever. I needed to have a complete hysterectomy. And so I'm in bed watching Grey's Anatomy reruns in the loosest clothes I can find, right? Taking lots of Vicodin. And so he took himself to the ER. And I'm waiting for him to call, and I'm waiting for him to call. Finally, he calls. And he said, well, I guess they're going to keep me overnight. And I'm like, keep you overnight? They don't keep anybody overnight. What are you talking about? So I threw on clothes and I got in my car, drove like a mad woman on drugs, not the smartest thing, but drove as fast as I could to the hospital. And shortly before I got there, I got another phone call. And he said, well, I guess there's a spot on my liver. I'm like, spot on your liver? Oh my gosh. And so I just started bawling. I just started crying. And I remember kind of getting to the hospital. I don't remember parking. I remember running in, holding all parts of me because everything was sore, and asking where he was. And he was behind a curtain, and I whipped the curtain open, and he's sitting on the edge of the bed like nothing's going on. And I'm bawling. And he said, listen, I am not going to invite you out anymore if this is the way you're going to behave. And I said, listen, buddy, you are not allowed to be funny right now. And so it takes a few days to get a diagnosis, biopsies, whatever they need to do. And so within a week, we knew it was pancreatic cancer, and we knew what a horrible diagnosis that is.
Yeah.
And if you live a year with pancreatic cancer, it's considered a victory. But he was 51, healthy, 6'3", gorgeous, 175 pounds. He was lean and shape. And so the doctor said, well, you could beat the odds a little bit here. You could live a little bit longer because you're young and healthy. Well, 6 weeks later, he passed away. And
Oh
yes,
my God.
but it was actually very merciful because we had a wonderful 6 weeks together. We never had a hospital bed. We never had any equipment. He did great until the very end. And his suffering really was just in the last couple hours of his life.
Wow.
The hospice nurse is there. She's going to get equipment ordered. She's ordering equipment on the phone. And I'm saying, I've got a son in the Navy. Do I call him in? What do I do? And she's, no. You got lots of time. You got lots of time. And I'm behind him, holding him on the bed because he couldn't lay down because his stomach hurt so bad. He's sitting on the edge of the bed. And I didn't want him to fall off. And I could just feel his misery. And so I just whispered in his ear. I said, baby, just go. And just like that, he was gone.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, which, I figure I had it better than most people have it their whole life, because not every marriage is great. Not all relationships are wonderful. And we really had a good one. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the things that he taught me, for the things we learned together and for the family that we have and who most of the time like me, sometimes don't, but kids, kids. But but anyway, yeah. So
Your perspective is so beautiful that you, in those darkest moments, to say, oh my gosh, I was so blessed to have these many years and this wonderful marriage, and that he didn't suffer. That's like getting out of ourselves and saying, but I wanted him, because I unconditionally love him, to not suffer. And I agree with you. And we all say this, I think, oh, I just want to die in my sleep and make it quick. But when it comes down to it may not be that easy, and our families don't want to see us suffer. What really strikes me for you, Kim, is my gosh, you just had to put aside your whole cancer, your health, your processing, even what's going on with you. And now you had to deal with your health on your own. How did you do that?
Oh, well, I had great doctors for one. I love my doctors. The whole team of doctors were wonderful. And then I have wonderful friends and incredible family support. And so I wasn't alone through any of it. I had all kinds of support, which was wonderful and so helpful. And people were great to me. People were just really great to me.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. We are just so, I'm so happy to hear that, because I know it's not your husband, but it's like, okay, I need this though. I need this group. I need this circle. And you had these people around you. So how did you process through this? So he passes away. Then where are you in your stage of your breast cancer?
Well, I still had a couple surgeries ahead of me, but I was through a lot of the worst of it. And he passed away in March. And by the end of the summer, I was pretty much through everything. And then healed enough by the end of the year to go back to work, to figure out what life was going to be. I had the luxury of not having to immediately figure out life. And so I ran into a man who was running an organization that my dad and I had started 10 years before. And I ran into him between Christmas and New Year's. And I said, hey, do you need any help with anything? Because I had some businesses. I didn't know if I was going to go back there. I had people running them. So I wasn't sure if I was going to do that or what I was going to do. Because holy cow, I'm 47 years old and I think I'm going to be 95 sitting next to my husband on a rocker sipping lemonade on the front porch, right?
Yeah.
And so now I have to create this whole new life. And so he said, well, yeah, I could use some help. I said, what about bookkeeping? And he said, oh, well, yeah, bookkeeping. So January 1st that year, I started out as part-time bookkeeper of the organization. And 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people. So within 2 weeks, I was on the ground in Haiti and I went from part-time bookkeeper to 24/7. And then for the next several years, I spent at least a portion of every month in Haiti. And I think that was a big healer is when you can give, when you can serve, you get outside yourself and you see that people have big needs. And if you can help fill them in any way, if you can even just hold people's hands, walk alongside them, you don't have to go to Haiti. But what about that woman at the grocery store that just looks like she's struggling, getting everything into the car and balancing her kids, or, the person in the carpool line that's trying to take care of the baby that's crying in the car and get her kids in the car, whatever, your next door neighbor who's ill and just could use a meal, just it would be so great to have a meal. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to serve people around you. And when you serve, your attitude changes, everything changes
Yeah.
because you're no longer so self-focused and self-absorbed. It is the great healer. Serving
Yeah.
is really the great healer.
I agree. And it really gives you a bigger picture of why we're here. You know, it's not just about us. We come alone and we leave alone, but in the meantime, we're here to connect with one another. And I agree with you, and I've said this in many podcasts. You know, service, there are no small acts of kindness. They're all big acts in my mind, because you don't know how big that thing is, like you said, helping someone put their groceries in the car and opening a door for someone. So I just love that. And it's amazing how it came into your life. And there's always, people say, oh, bad things happen and it's just not good, Maureen. But I always feel that there is good to be had in bad experiences if we're looking for it. And you did. You said, I'm looking for this new life that I had no expectation of being in. And so I have a choice here. And what am I going to do with it? Sit at home and feel sorry for myself or make a difference? And that difference for you fulfilled you. It was your purpose that got fulfilled, and you hadn't even known, from bookkeeper to being on the ground in Haiti and seeing other people suffering really puts some of our own stuff kind of in perspective, like that I can get over this pile of laundry in the corner. Yours, of course, was bigger, having dealing with life changing health issues. But so tell us, where did that bring you from there? So you're in Haiti and you're there 24/7 and you're helping all of these people. Where does this take you mentally, physically, spiritually?
Well, of course I still had to deal with the loss of my husband, right? I still had to really process it because it takes a minute. You're together for a long time, and have this family, and then he's gone. And so there's a lot of processing that needs to be done and figuring out of things. And one thing that I questioned, and I wasn't sure why I questioned it, but I questioned love, because there are so many songs written about love. There are so many movies, and there's books, and Nicholas Sparks makes it all romantic and wonderful, and so does Ed Sheeran or whoever, right? And
Yeah.
so that's when we think of love, we think of this romantic love that lasts, the first 6 months of your relationship, let's face it. But uh it's love is universal, and it's to everybody. It's not just in a couple. And
Yeah.
but what does it really mean? What is It's this mystery. It's this age long, forever mystery. What is love really? And so I decided that I was going to dedicate a full year to figuring out the truth about love, what love really means. I wanted to know I was doing it right. I wanted to know that I understood. And so I took this 2,000-year-old poem that you hear at a lot of weddings, and your eyes glaze over. You hear it so much, but love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, right? And I
Yes.
decided I would take one word a month and figure out, well, what is love that is patient? Is that different than patient? What does that mean? Love is patient. There are 14 is's and isn't of love in that poem. So it took me a little longer than a year, but I did exactly that. I did one a month and wrote as I went. And so I started each chapter with, at the beginning of a month, what I think it means. We all know what patience is, right?
Right.
We're not honking our horn when we're stuck in traffic. We're not mad because we're ready to go, and or they haven't taken the trash out in time, whatever it happens to be. But I found out that love that is patient is way different than that.
Mm.
And you put love is or love is not in front of any word, and the definition changes. And it blew my mind. So this very first month out of the gate, I'm just constantly thinking, love is patient, love is patient. I'm looking for it, trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what it is. Every month it took me to the end of the month. I don't know if I'm a slow learner or what, but it took me to the end of the month. So then I tell the story that happens in Haiti that uh, makes me figure out what it means, what love is patient means. And with that month, we shipped in containers a lot, and oh my gosh, dealing with the Haitian government and whatever, whatever, whatever. And so, but what I figured out is love that is patient. And I believe you're supposed to love everybody. Just love everybody. Just do it. Just love everybody. And if you love everybody, then you recognize that this is the most important moment of your life. What's in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. And I cannot tell you how often I would be in conversation with somebody, but be thinking about my to do list, be thinking about a meeting I had later that day, stopping at the grocery store on the way home, something that happened yesterday, and thinking I'm engaged. And
Yeah.
I was not loving that person. I was not showing love that is patient. to
Wow.
show that you are there 100%. And it changes everything because when you are fully engaged, you're showing that love, and people feel that you care, that you love them, and your ears open. There's
Yes.
no more assumptions about what somebody's going to say based on their political party, based on the neighborhood they live in. You're not going to assume anything. You really listen. And
Yes.
instead of waiting with your rebuttal or already knowing what you're going to say in return, truly listen to the words and love that person in the moment. Be in the moment. The moment's going to come and go with or without you. So be
Yes.
there in the moment. That is love, that is patient.
Being present and listening to understand who you're talking to. A lot of people say, listen to hear. No, I want to go further. Let's listen to understand what this person is about. And you and I were talking offline about our children and some of the struggles we have. And I had to pull back my own perspective of my ego, my defense mechanism, my triggers, my mommy guilt when talking to my kids. And then I had to go, okay, I have to listen to understand what is he saying. What I'm hearing is he still has some residual hurt or healing to do from his childhood. And I think when we encounter anybody in life, that you're right, we have to not listen to respond. We're always inserting our beliefs, our values, our advice. If we just pull back and just go, wait, I want to really listen to hear what this person is about, and they will tell you if you hear them properly, if you listen properly with patience, like you said, man, we could all get along so much better in this life and coexist, even with varying opinions. It doesn't matter if you have a different opinion. I can listen to understand why you have that opinion.
Right, exactly. I love the way you put that. That is so exactly true because it takes away the labels, right? Love takes away the labels. It takes away judgment. It takes away condemnation, racism. There's no room for discrimination. There's no room for any of that. All you have to do is love. Just love. And then you let people be who they believe they are created to be. Let people be
Yes.
who they are. Stop giving the, I had to do this here. I'm saying stop. Like everybody in the world should stop this. Kim Sorrelle had to stop giving unsolicited advice. Not everybody wants to hear my grand words of wisdom to save their lives. And when I stopped giving advice, I realized the advice I was giving, maybe it wasn't so good, maybe it was good, but people want to hear it when they ask for it, not just because you want to deliver them from something, from the sadness they're going through, whatever, because you could get them out of it. But just letting people be who they are. Let people live their life, live who they are. And when it comes down to it, it's like, how do you want to be known? Do you want to be known as, oh, well, she's a Republican,
Yeah,
he's a
right.
Democrat, right? I mean, is that how you want to be known? Or do you want to be
Right.
known as Maureen and Kim,
Yeah.
right?
What do you want said at your funeral? I tell people that all the time. No one's going to talk about your car and your bank account and your political stance. They're going to say, I remember how Kim made me feel. I remember a moment when Kim did this. And I'm going to say this, it is tough to take off the life coaching hat. And I have been told by both my grandson and my son, you're always life coaching. And I said, I was life coaching you from birth. Okay. It isn't just when I started this business. Yeah. And you asking me not to life coach you is asking me to change the color of my eyes. But I needed to be more aware of when do you need this? And I think I've talked about this in other podcasts where my grandson, who is so wise beyond his years, says, hey grandma, not I don't always want to be life coached. And I said, okay, how can I give you what you need? He said, well, I said, you have to tell me. He said, I either want to vent, I want comfort, or I want a solution. And so I'll say, okay, which one do you need today? And that's when I have to step back. If he just wants to vent, stop life coaching. Or he wants comfort, stop life coaching. If he wants a solution, I get to step up and be the life coach. But I'm going to say this, Kim, give me this a help here. Some people are very hard to love. I'm just going to say that we all have people in our lives who are very hard to love. And them being in our existence, no matter how much we love them, does not change who they are. And when they are affecting us in a negative way, how do I love someone without allowing their negative energy and toxicity into my life? Because I think it's really important to serve ourselves when it comes to relationships. And sometimes I always say with family members that are estranged, I love you, but I love you way over there. I can't love you right here in my space. It's not good for either one of us. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I believe that you can love people without liking them.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be your best friend. You don't want to go to coffee with everybody. Certain personalities clash. Somebody, the lifestyle that they're leading, like if they're, harming people, then of course you don't want to be around that. You don't want your kids around it. You do have to be aware of who should be in your life and who shouldn't be in your life, but you can still love them. You can still love them, care about their lives if you choose to care about their lives, but love would care about their lives. You can still love them, but absolutely love them from a distance. You don't need negative, toxic people in your life. Nobody does. And something to know is that you only control yourself. You
Yeah.
have no control. We know that as moms, right? You have this infant, you're in total control for about 6 months, and then you are out of control, right? They are in control. They throw their food, they wander off, they get the pans out of the cupboard, they do whatever they choose to do. And so you have no control over anyone but yourself. And
Yeah.
when you let that go, when you let control go and realize it's not on you, their behavior is not on you. The only thing you have to do is love them, and decide if you spend any time with them or not. You don't have to. You don't have to. Everyone's not going to be your best friend. Everyone's not going to be sitting around the table at Christmas dinner. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, that's part of love. Is sometimes it's tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough to for the ones that you love to say I love you. You just can't be a regular thing in my life. That's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do, but you can still love.
And I have found that letting go of whatever emotions are attached to that person that are harming me, anger, disappointment, sadness, whatever it is, if I can recognize that's my thing. That's my thing, and I'll work through that thing myself, right? Doing all the things we do and journaling and release work and all of that good stuff, Reiki. But what I recognize is when I find myself thinking negative things about someone, I have to identify and say, that's on you, Maureen. You have to work through that. And I just send them light and love and just believe their purpose and their life that they contracted to do here, they're doing it. And it has nothing to do with me. I have to let go of what my part in that is. Right?
Very well put. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. It's funny. One of the phrases in that poem is love doesn't keep record of wrongs. And I know we only have so much time in the podcast, but that was so enlightening because it doesn't keep record of wrongs. I mean, you forgive, but you might not forget. I mean, you might not forgive. I mean, when somebody has done you wrong, when you've been hurt by somebody, how do you not keep record, right? But there is a way. There is a way that love does not keep record of wrongs. It's in my book, but it's there is a way, and it makes you healthier, stronger, better. It takes away the bitterness that injures really only you. You're not hurting anybody with your bitterness, right? A lot of
That's
times
right.
people don't even know you're mad at them, don't even know that you're holding a grudge, whatever. It's just eating away at you and your purpose, your soul, your being.
Yeah.
It can be so destructive, but and love doesn't do that. So it's interesting. That
You
was an
said
interesting month.
I love that. And I love that you're like, I don't know why it took a month. Well, I know why it took a month because it's one thing for us to sit and the reason why I do this podcast is the experiences are what speak. The experiences are what make us more wise. We could talk about things all day long from a book, from reading a book, or we can talk about, what someone told me about their experience, but you had to go through those 30 days with each one of those things to say, oh, my awareness was bigger when I was looking for the patience of love or the kindness of love, or, and you had to experience those full 30 days. As I follow Abraham Hicks, it's like I'm getting ready to be ready. And so when I think I'm ready, I'm not always ready. If it's not manifested yet, then I'm still working on getting ready. And so it's cool that the way that you processed and how you wrote the book is there was so much forethought into that. You didn't just sit down and boom. Like me, I channeled my first book. It's almost like 50 years was just piled up in there, and it just needed to come out like, a waterfall. And for you, you were like, I need this deep understanding to be able to write about it. So it's neat that we all have these different methods, isn't it neat? You did say the one thing that I agree with. I never had writer's block because I never wrote unless it felt good.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people, when there's so much advice, right, about writing a book, and everybody's got a book in them and whatever, but not everybody's a writer. Not everybody wants to sit down and write a book. You might think you want to, but, it's not just all glorious all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know if people really want to read what you want to write. But I needed to write what I needed to write, whether anybody read it or not, whether a publisher ever decided to pick it up or not. I needed to write it. I needed to live it. I needed to experience it. And I needed to get it on paper. I needed to write it. And I think that's true of a lot of people that do write a book. Like you just said, you needed to just vomit that onto paper. That's probably a bad word to use, but just to get it out, right? Just to purge it out on paper. And that's sometimes that's what we need.
It is. It's just that release work of it's in you. And it also is a confidence builder. And I honestly was at the point, and I think if anyone's going to write a book, you have to get to a point where you just don't care if anybody's going to read it or not. You just have to write it to write it. You just have to write it because it's beneficial to you to get it on paper. We can talk to friends all day long or family, but it's not the same as putting your innermost thoughts and feelings down on paper. And whether it's nonfiction or fiction, I envy the fiction writers. The creative minds that can keep you in suspense and create characters. I'm a nonfiction writer, and so I feel like it's easier. I know fiction writers that go, oh gosh, I would never write a nonfiction. So it's interesting the way we create and what works for us. And I always say, stay in your wheelhouse. You only can write about what you know. Don't try to write, something on rocket science unless you're a rocket scientist. So it's a fun process. And you can always just write a book, and you don't even have to worry about the publishing part of it either if you don't want that. It's just get that out there. Just maybe after you pass, maybe your family finds it and they're like, we're going to publish this memoir. It's the purpose behind doing it. If you're doing it to sell millions of copies, or you're doing it to be, the next big Stephen King, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. And that's like everything in life. You, for example, going to Haiti, you didn't do it because, oh, I'm going to get recognized as this really good giver and everybody's going to think I'm such a great person. You went because you needed something to fulfill you, and it felt really rewarding for you. And you, I say it all the time, we get more when we give. I firmly believe when we get stuck in it's all about me, my life, and I'm in a stuck place, I'm on a hamster wheel, being able to go outside. I tell people to volunteer clients, I'm like, go find a volunteer job. It's rewarding, right?
So true, so true. And but people will say things to you like, "Oh my word, it's so wonderful what you did," blah 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 blah. But the reality is, I get so much more than I can ever give. Like you can try to outgive your get, and there's no outgiving the get. When you're doing it from the heart, there is just no outgiving the get at all.
Title of your episode right there. And when you see me look over here, I'm like, I gotta write this down. You said something really neat too a minute ago, a little while ago, where you said you cannot care And you said, but love will care. And that was really, it stuck with me. And I'm like, I know we passed over and I went, I got to come back to that. You're right. You're right. I can act like I don't care. But if I am love and I am loving, I'm going to care. And I have to find a way to get to the care, no matter how many negative emotions it takes to get there. And you said it so well. There's, listen to this, listeners. It was the moment, it was the profound moment in the episode. There's no outgiving the get. I've never heard it put that way. I agree. And if you're in a job or a relationship or a friendship that you're not getting anything and you're feeling like there is no love there, you're not passionate about what you're doing. You have to be passionate about it. It's never about the return. There's a saying. Where did I have that? Oh, I show this to people all the time. So I do these little mini houses, and this is like a little miniature
Oh, I love that.
of my
Oh, that's
office. And at the very top here, I have a little saying, and it says, "Life coaching, do it for the outcome, not the income." So it's very, very similar when you're in service. Do it for the outcome, not for the praise, not for income, not for awards and recognitions. And you're such a shining, beautiful example of that. Overcoming your own, you're having to process grief, your own health. And you said, you know what? I'm going to go outside of myself and I'm going to do this beautiful thing for others. And whether you like praise or not, I'm giving it to you. Job well done. So tell us where you are in your journey now. What are you doing to help others? How can we contact you? How can we get your books? I mean, all the things that are Kim, I want to know.
Well, I'm easy to find because I am literally the only Kim Sorrelle in the entire world spelled my way, because there are way too many letters. There's 2 R's, 2 E's, 2 L's, Sorrelle. Sorrelle. And so I am the only one. So I'm easy to find, but not so easy maybe to remember my last name and how it's spelled. So loveis.info. Love is the name of my book. .info is a great, easier way to get to my website. I have a free love challenge on my website. If you join it, it's simple. It's a 14-day challenge, and it's just a simple thing. But if you join it, I will send you for free a WWLD wristband. What would love do? Because if you can answer that question, you will make the right choices and right decisions. And so I will
Oh,
send you a free wristband if you join the Love Challenge. And I'm all over social media. I'm everywhere. So I'm pretty easy to find. And I love to hear from people. And it's been an amazing journey. I mean, my 14 months was an amazing journey. But the whole thing has been. And now to see people, I hear from people who there's families that are buying a copy of my book for every adult member of their family. And then they're Zooming once a month and talking about a chapter together. I mean, how cool is that? Or, small groups in churches or companies. There are companies that are buying them for their staff and then having a monthly meeting to talk about a chapter, because each one of those 14 things is different from each other, even though there's a nice thread that weaves them all together. They're all very different from each other. So it's been wonderful to see. And I love hearing from people. I love talking to people and answering questions or whatever I can do, because I believe so strongly that the things I learned about love are unlike what you've heard before. And the things
nice.
we're taught about love are not necessarily true. And the things we do in the name of love aren't necessarily right.
Yeah.
So if you can understand love and then live it, because it's not just an emotion like fear, it is something you are. If you can be love, you will be happier. Everything about life will be better for you. Every single thing, if you can live love.
Wow. And of course everybody wants your book. Of course everybody relates, because I believe every human wants to give and receive love. I think that's the most simplistic way of saying What are we doing here to expand ourselves and our souls? We want to give and receive love in the most impactful way. So your book is that and then some. And the key here is letting go of our preconceived notions about love. So it's not even just learning new stuff about love, it's letting go of what we do think about love. All those Disney movies and think about all the things we've witnessed from our parents, or dysfunctional relationships, or hurtful relationships that we've had ourselves. It's first we got to let go of what we think about love, and then we welcome in what you're saying. These things are love. And of course, everybody wants this book. I just think it's so neat. And I also love the first one too, guys. I think if you're going through any health struggles, and cry until you laugh, I think is such a great sharing. It's like, I think having Kim walking you through that journey while you're going through it will be such a beautiful thing and purposeful for what you went through. And also just saying, okay, she did it. I can have hope. I can do this. I can do this. She did it. So I'm going to do this. So both of those books, I just think are absolutely amazing. Excuse me. Jeez, frog in my throat. So KimSorrelle.com, guys. I'm going to have all of her links in the podcast episode when we go live. So if you want it before, loveis.info and KimSorrelle.com. So KimSorrelle.com. And I always ask, you've got a banner, you're walking downtown with 100,000 people behind you. What's on your banner, Kim, to change the world?
Love everybody.
So simple. 2 words.
Simple. 2 words.
2 words. Just love everybody. Just love everybody. And it sounds simple, but that's not simple. That is the most difficult thing. So, of course, I always end it this way as well. Love everybody. I just love that. But I still love no outgiving the get. That's my takeaway from today. So what is your selfless or your shameless self-indulgence that you do for yourself to keep you healthy and happy?
It would be some reality TV.
I love you. There's another thread. Okay, we're trying to find out why we connect, well, between the children and now the reality TV. Okay, what kind of reality TV?
Well, I love reality TV that makes me feel like it just lets your mind go someplace else. And so my friends joke, because I'll be talking about Kyle or I'll be talking about Tamra, and they're like, "Who's Tamra? Who's Kyle?" Well, she's my friend in Beverly Hills. She's my friend in the OC.
Oh my God, I'm like every single housewife. I'm reading Andy Cohen's book right now, which is
I love Andy.
oh my God, every single one of them. It's interesting, and I don't want to. I'm not gonna diss anybody here, especially my housewives. But I look at the TV and they're arguing or they're talking about something, and I just want to reach in and go, you guys, no. This is not that big of a deal. Come on, just hug it out. I'm always like, why are you arguing about this thing? And why are you carrying this on for 4 episodes? Like, let it go and be there. You call yourself girlfriends. Just as Kim would say, just love everybody, please. So reality TV is a good learning thing for me. So I am with you. I'm trying to get, so I love Southern Charm. I don't know if you watch Southern Charm.
Yes, I've seen some Southern Charm. Yes, indeed.
Trying to get Craig on here. I reached out to him and I'm like, please, because he saw a life coach in one of the earlier seasons, and I was so proud of him for seeing a life coach. And he just really had changed his life, and he stayed with his passion of starting this business. And I'm hoping and praying that he'll come on. He has not responded yet, but you have to ask, right? So
Oh, he will. Just stay on him. He'll come on. He'll be there.
I just can't wait to talk to him and be like, I'm so dang proud of you, Craig. And I see him speaking his truth and standing up for himself. And he stayed true to his creative side and what he wanted to do, even though everyone made fun of it and it wasn't very masculine. And now he's got this big, successful pillow business. And I just want to talk to Craig. But thank you that we share that as well. And Kim, thank you for your story. Thank you for your light in this world. Thank you for all the giving and really raising the vibration of the planet. And thank you for the hour of your life today that you'll never get back that you gifted to me. And you're just a gem. And I cannot wait to stay connected to you moving forward, my new friend, my new soul sister.
Well, yes, my new soul sister, indeed. And yes, I am excited to see you in person, to hang out, have some coffee, talk about our friends in New Jersey, New York, all the places.
Where are you living? Are you here in
I am
Arizona?
in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh goodness, we're gonna have to take a trip to one another. I'm in Arizona, so we're gonna have to meet up. Let's just fly somewhere and meet up. Let's go have a trip in Cali in the by the ocean or something.
Sounds great to me. Sounds great.
Thank you so much, listeners. Don't forget to go on and do your reviews. If you want to contact Kim, I have that information for you. If you want to just reach out to me, as always, my gratitude to all of you and to this community. It's beyond what I could ever express. If you are looking for life coaching from me, I'm at lifecoachmaureen.com and my books are available as well. My dog is more enlightened than I am. And my dog is my relationship coach, where dogs teach us unconditional love. The word today is love, and dogs know how to love everybody. That's the beauty of dogs. Let's live pure like they are. My book will help you learn how to be true to yourself as well as to others. So, with that, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you, Miss Kim. I appreciate you, and what a joy you are.
Thank you so much, Maureen. You are amazing. So thank you. Thank you.